Imagine a sleepy country lane getting a fiber optic makeover. That's Kenya Data Networks. Kenya Data Networks was born to turn Mombasa's undersea cables into Nairobi's fast lanes, then grown-up problems, boardroom drama, acquisitions, and fiber cuts later. It's been one long KDN roller coaster. Buckle up. KDN was licensed as a public data network operator in the early 2000s. You know, the Communications Authority or CCK era. It was formally appearing as a licensed public data network operator in January 2003. KDN was built to create a commercial data backbone in Kenya when the market opened. The company was part of the Samir Group family, you know, the Merali business empire. In its early days, that local industrial anchor mattered when the network needed local foothold and capital. KDN's pitch was simple and huge. Build a fiber backbone from Mombasa across Kenya and to neighboring countries. So businesses, banks, ISPs, and government, they could stop living on dial-up prayers. That meant long terrestrial fiber routes, you know, Mombasa to Nairobi, to Uganda border and beyond. And also wholesale pipes, colocation, and data center play. In 2005, KDN contracted Siemens to deliver transmission tech for a 140 kilometers fiber network. This was real heavy lift infrastructure work. You know, design, turnkey delivery. This is when KDN stopped being just an idea and started being the spine for enterprise internet in East Africa. They didn't just lay the cable, they laid the red carpet for the internet. When submarines cables landed on Kenya's coast, you know, the Seacom, Teams, KDN was one of the local players linking those landing points into terrestrial networks and customers. KDN, Telcom, and shared consortiums, they were named among partners in East African cable projects. Kenya's fiber backbone needed firms like KDN to get subsea capacity inland. In short, subsea made the global pipe, and KDN made the country pipe. That combination is why KDN was essential to the ISP ecosystem. KDN sold wholesale bandwidth, you know, to smaller ISPs, enterprise circuits to banks, telcos, and big companies, colocation, and later explored data center services or disaster recovery. The model was to own fiber and sell big pipes. That's infrastructure money, capital incentive, and long payback. They linked Nairobi, Kampala, Dar es Salaam, and Kigali at different times. This was a regional footprint that made them attractive to foreign investors who wanted an East African on-ramp. Local investor Samir Group initially controlled KDN. In 2008, Altec, which is a South African arm, it acquired a controlling stake in KDN, announced as a 51% buy in March 2008. It promised fresh capital to expand the fiber network and the data center plans. Altec later said it would increase its stake and inject tens of millions to roll out the network. By 2009, Altec increased its economic stake and committed more investment. Reports cite $39.5 million for further rollout and additional funds for a data center. This foreign capital was supposed to accelerate the regional backbone and enterprise sales. Investors, you know, they were waving wands of cash like it was a Black Friday sale for fiber. Things changed again in 2013. Altec offloaded its East Africa operations and Liquid Telecom took on Altec's East Africa assets. That included KDN. So Liquid Telecom acquired the stake that Altec had. Media reported that Liquid Telecom would take roughly 61% of KDN as part of its regional expansion. For Altec, the deal returned cash and a minority stake in Liquid. So post-acquisition, KDN rebranded as Liquid Telecom Kenya, and later the parent rebranded to Liquid Intelligent Technologies. Liquid's plan was to merge KDN with sister brands like Swift Global, consolidate fiber footprints, and scale a Pan-African backbone. After foreign takeovers, you almost always get redundancies and reshuffles. Liquid merged KDN and Swift Global's operations, and many executive roles were declared redundant while the new owners integrated networks. Some reports quoted managers saying the firm was close to turning a profit after restructuring, but the human cost, you know, the jobs lost and the retraining, that was real. This is the reality of being a fiber operator in Kenya. Cable cuts and subsea events cause national ripple effects. KDN infrastructure has been hit by terrestrial damage and coordination problems. Reports show fiber cuts disrupting services, you know, contractors cutting lines, vandalism, and subsea cable faults. Like the incident in 2024. Those incidents reduced East Africa connectivity. Safaricom even cited a KDN-operated fiber cut at Athi River as causing an outage. The broader lesson here is, Networks can be built, but maintaining physical resilience, the diverse routes, redundancy, and fast repairs, it's expensive and politically tricky. KDN or Liquid is competing with big players like Safaricom's growing fiber play, Access Kenya, which was later part of Dimension Data, Wananchi or Zuku, which is a consumer broadband, and international wholesale carriers like Seacom. The market got more crowded after subsea capacity expanded and price competition squeezed wholesale margins. A provider that owns dark fiber and data centers can win enterprise customers, but the margins for wholesale pipes are cyclical and capital heavy. KDN's trajectory is a textbook infrastructure story. Win with assets and suffer with costs. So there's some little tea here. Samir Group and Naushad Merali, they were the local industrial patrons early on. When foreign capital arrived, that is Altec and then Liquid, the ownership map shifted and Merali's companies eased back from direct control. There were reports in the press that KDN faced financial strain before the 2013 transfer, and that's part of why Altec or the Liquid deals happened. Local high-stakes boardroom maneuvering and exits are part of the story. The boardroom moves are like musical chairs, just with bigger chairs and more lawyers. Today, KDN's legacy lives inside Liquid, which is now Liquid Intelligent Technologies. The brand pivoted and the group broadened into cloud, security, and data center services. Liquid, the group, now claims huge kilometers of fiber across Africa and positions itself as a wholesale and cloud-enabled provider. The big question for Kenya is, who invests in more terrestrial diversity? Who builds reliable data centers? And how do regulators make sure investment and national resilience happen without a few foreign players owning everything? That's the policy or ownership tea for another video. So you see, KDN started as the heroic idea to bring broadband to Kenya. It built backbone, sold wholesale, carried the bank's tariff, and then got pulled into the big money game. So was KDN a brilliant national infrastructure success that got bought out? Or a local story swallowed by foreign consolidation? Tell me in the comments, I would like to know. And that's it for this video. I'll see you in the next one.